The time is 9:12 a.m. This meeting will be open to the public at the above location and will proceed by video conference as allowed under Texas Government Code Section 155.127. The location above shall have two-way audio-video communication with each of the other locations during the meeting. The president or presiding officer of the board will be physically present at the location and room listed above. I would note we do not have anybody from the public in the room with us, but we are broadcasting to the public and anybody that can join via the link. So we do have public observing us right now. And then, yes, if you would like to proceed with agenda item 1, which reading the mission statement and then the roll call.
Our mission is to protect and enhance the public's health, safety, and welfare by establishing and maintaining standards of excellence used in regulating practice of medicine and ensuring quality health care for the citizens of Texas through licensure, discipline, and education. So our roll call, Clay Bowles.
Here.
Stephanie Corbett. I saw her. You're on mute, Stephanie, but I see you. Victor Ho.
Here.
Lawrence Hughes. Do I see him? I don't see him.
Really, he may not be. I think he may have notified us this morning. He may not be able to be in present today.
Okay. Sandra Longoria.
Present.
Greg Rowan.
Present.
Andrew Sawyer.
Present.
Laura Shipley.
Present.
Richard Todd.
Here.
And myself, Melinda Gottschalk.
And we will need to get Ms. Corbett to turn her audio and her camera on. In order to count her on the quorum, we'll have to actually see and hear her establish her presence. Thanks so much.
It looks like she's froze.
Okay, got it. So we'll just, once she's able to rejoin, we'll note that.
All right.
I believe we do have a quorum, though. Yeah.
And I think we have 2 other members that we did not call. Cameron McElhaney, I believe he is not here, but also Dr. Rao Ali.
Correct. I'm sorry, I had them in the not attending category, so that's why I didn't call him, but Carrie Crosby, not attending.
But we do have Dr. Ali this morning. Thank you.
Oh, Dr. Ali is here?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ali.
My pleasure.
But Cameron McElhaney's not here?
Correct. I did.
Okay.
I know. I haven't heard him give an appearance now.
Okay. All right. So we'll go on to item 2, the board member report. Do we have any reports for the board member reports?
An opportunity for any board member that has anything to share. Not obligatory. So if you don't have anything to share, we can just move on to item 3, but it's the opportunity.
All right. So we'll move on to the executive director report.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, I don't know if you can see me or not,
No.
but well, I don't know. The camera says it's on this end, but at least you can hear me. So it's good to see you all. Thank you for being here. I'll turn it over to Joey to give you the finance update, and then we'll go from there.
You're on mute, Joey.
Forgot to
Also,
click the
board
other
members,
button.
if you could please turn on your cameras so we can see you, because I don't see everyone present. We need to have you guys present.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Brent. Good morning, board members. So the agency's budget execution through the end of February is currently at 98%. We do have plans to execute that remaining 2% through the end of the fiscal year. Our revenue collections through the end of February are just over $19 million. I want to point out 2 things with that. The first one is, compared to last year, that's an increase of $1.5 million more. And then also we have met our statutory requirement to collect enough revenues to cover our agency expenditures. So currently our planned expenditures are going to be just about 17.6, maybe 18 million. So that's great news for us. On page 3 of your budget report, I have a high-level summary and breakdown of the agency's numbers. It's a little bit easier to read compared to the other reports that have a lot of numbers. And then on page 10, I have detailed information going over our revenue collections through all the way back to 2016. And then on page 16, I have notes to the financial statements, and that just gives an overview on our revenue collections where there is a variance from year to year that's 10% or more. And then lastly, the legislators appropriated us an additional 35.5 FTEs. We are currently in process of hiring 32 of those if they haven't already been hired. We have about 13 FTEs that we're onboarding next week, so that's great news for us. The 3.5 FTEs that are remaining, those job descriptions are currently being developed. And then I'm sure Brent would highlight a little bit more on this, but the agency has started the legislative appropriations process for our fiscal year 2026 and 2027. That document will be due probably the end of July. So I've been meeting with the leadership team to get input on their requests, and then I'll have more information to present once we summarize all of that. So pending any questions, I'll hand it back to you, Brent.
Brent, sorry to interject here. It seems like Teams is having a slight problem with the showing the video. If everyone could toggle their camera button for me, just like turn it, if it shows that it's turning on, if you could just turn it off and then turn it back on really quick. We're gonna see if that pops the videos back up for everyone. Yeah, it looks like that's working. Thank you so much, everyone.
Excuse me. My name is Lorraine Osborne. I just joined in because I'm supposed to have a meeting, but I'm not sure I'm in the right meeting.
Ms. Osborne, I believe you are in the correct meeting. We just haven't gotten to your, we just haven't gotten to your item yet, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, I heard you talking financials, so I didn't know if I should be here or not. Okay.
Okay, no, this is, if the board, just so you know, and anybody else from the public that's on, if the board has business that needs to be conducted in executive session, we have a mechanism to take everybody out of the public meeting and into another location. So anything that's being shared in this part of the meeting is public. So that's no problem. And I think you are going to be on agenda item 10. We are running just a few minutes behind today, but you're not in the wrong place.
Okay, no worries. I'll mute again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Did anyone have any questions for Joey? Oh, okay, great. Sorry, I switched over to my phone. It's working better, I guess, than my laptop is, at least for the camera piece of it. So yeah, moving on with the executive director report. Again, thank you, Joey. As Joey mentioned, for the LAR, we are only 10 months away from our next legislative session. So we are preparing for that, both when it comes to what we're going to ask for resources, but also if there's any statutory items that have come up since the last session, things that may need to be tweaked or changed. So we're starting to get a list together of different things in preparation for the session, and also preparing for what other things might come our way from legislators. One of the big things that we are looking at, and we may be asking for additional funds for, has to do with our licensing system and our compliance system, things for staff education, just kind of an overall system. We have multiple systems that were built in-house and have been in use for years. They work fairly well, but they do have their limitations, and staff having to jump back and forth between one system to the next and trying to piece together information on licensees and investigations and so forth. So we are looking at avenues to get kind of one system that will work all of our processes together. So not sure what the total cost would be for that, or if we'll find something that will work, but did want to let you know that is something that we are working on. For the internal audit, we do have our new company that we started with their contract, Gonzalez & Gonzalez. And so they have started working with us on what area to be part of the audit for this year. We are looking at probably doing an audit of licensing. That was the top of our list for last year, and that's probably what we'll end up doing for this year. So we're just running through the risk assessment with them, and then potentially looking at other departments next year, maybe perhaps compliance. So just wanted to give you a quick rundown. I know you guys have a lot on your agenda, so that will conclude my executive director report, and happy to take any questions.
Does
All right.
anybody have any questions from Mr. Carlson?
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, well, we'll move on to our medical director report. Dr. Brent?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Actually, nothing to report here. This will be a really quick. We have enough experts at the time, and so just want to wish a warm welcome to some of the new members of the board.
Thank you. All right, on to the physician assistant liaison report. Do we have a report on that? Anybody that's attended the medical board meetings? Okay. So public information update, Ms. Sloan.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Just one main thing I want to share with everyone this morning. The biennial TMB customer service survey is currently underway. It was actually launched earlier this month, and folks who sign up to receive TMB communications would have received a direct invitation to participate. But a link to the survey is also on the TMB website on our homepage, like right there when you see it, when you log in, and also on the Facebook and also on Facebook. So basically anyone can participate. It's only 9 questions, which we are required to ask as part of our strategic planning process. For those of you who may not be familiar with the strategic planning process, this is an exercise that all state agencies do in the spring of even numbered years. It's essentially like the first official activity agencies do specifically in preparation for the next legislative session. It covers a wide range of topics from workforce planning to performance measures to overall agency goals, and also includes this customer service survey. So board members, if you could please encourage your colleagues to participate in the survey, and for any members of the public that are joining us today, we'd like to invite you to participate as well. That completes my update for today, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Sloan? All right, well then we will move on to consideration and possible action regarding pending legislation from Mr. Freshour.
Yes, good morning, board members. Much like Dr. Brett and Ms. Sloan, my report is going to be very short. Number of substantial evidence reviews are going through the courts. These are medical board actions. There are no PA actions in the court system right now. We do have a couple of medical board cases that have gone all the way up to the Texas Supreme Court, and our Attorney General is filing responses as to why they don't believe the court needs to consider some of the issues going forward. Once the court decides whether or not they'll take the case, I'll have a further update, but right now it's just a matter of they didn't like the outcome at both the district court level, these were the physicians, or at the Third Court of Appeals here in Austin. So they've appealed the issues up to the Texas Supreme Court. And one of the issues is there wasn't enough evidence in one case. In another one, there were multiple charges against a physician, but only one charge was substantiated. And they're complaining that the board basically was over alleging, and a lot of the allegations that weren't proven, they're trying to claim they were frivolous. We feel very comfortable in those cases that will prevail. But again, these take a while. Even once the court hears them, it can be months before they'll hand out a decision. So I may have an update at your next meeting and I may not, but we will keep you informed. And other than that, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer, but that is the litigation report for this meeting.
Any questions for Mr. Freshour? All right, then we will move on to item number 8, the Texas Physician Health Program with Dr. Doyle.
Hi, good morning. So for item 8A in your materials, you should have 2 case reviews. The first case review is case number 23-0809, and that is a referral that the Texas PHP Governing Board is recommending that you accept the referral. And there's a second case 24-0105. And on that case, the Texas PHP Governing Board is recommending that you allow that participant to remain with Texas PHP. I'm happy to take questions on either one of them if you want to take them one at a time for a vote. I'm here for whatever you need from me.
Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Doyle regarding either case? All right, so then we'll take motions on 2309, 0809 first. Motion to send this PA to the medical board for the continuation of their issues. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
And
And
so
a
just
second?
to clarify that motion, would that be, this would be for the PA board to accept
Yes,
the referral?
for the PA board.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, for the PA board. So
I second that.
PA Todd
Yep.
made the motion. Dr. Ali, were you seconding or you had a question?
Yes, I'm seconding it.
So all those in favor of moving this applicant back to the PA board signify by answering aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, well then we'll move on to 240105, and this applicant, Dr. Doyle, spoke to us about retaining this PA in the Texas PHP, and so I need to have a motion regarding that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to retain the applicant or the PA in the THP.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
All right, all those in favor of the motion to retain this PA in the Texas PHP, please signify by signifying aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, so this 230809 will come back to the PA board, and 240105 will be retained at the Texas PHP. Dr. Doyle, anything else to add?
No, item B, we had no emergent referrals to report on, and you do have some reports in your materials. If you have any questions about either the program activity report or the drug screening quarterly report, Ree Bernardo or I could answer those. Otherwise, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Doyle regarding the Texas PHP numbers that she has provided in other discussion items? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 9, which is discussions, recommendations, and possible actions regarding licensee requests. Ms. Hines.
And there are none for
There
this
are-
one. Sorry. Thanks, Ray.
There are
Thanks,
none.
Chris.
All right, so then we'll move on to item number 10, discussion recommendations and possible action regarding applicants appearing, considering eligibility. Ms.
Yes,
Utterborn.
we have one licensure, relicensure applicant that is appearing today. Applicant number 2600 is appealing the executive director's determination. This applicant was previously licensed with the board in December of 2010. The license expired in August of 2020 and canceled for non-payment in September of 2021. The applicant had not actively practiced as a physician assistant since March 2020 when she worked in a staff position at West Oaks Urgent Care in Houston, Texas. She indicated that since April 2019, she began working at the West Oaks Urgent Care, and that was after moving to Canada, doing a rotational schedule of 7 to 12-hour shifts monthly, 84 hours monthly from July 2019 until COVID hit, and she could no longer travel to work from Canada doing rotations due to the travel restrictions. She had plans to return to work when the COVID restrictions were removed, but at the time, her employer had to hire additional staff due to large volumes of patients during COVID, and the position was no longer available. So during the COVID restrictions, the applicant completed a real estate course and began selling real estate in Canada. She did provide copies of 3 signed contracts to work in Texas around the Houston area, and also copies of her NCCPA CME transcripts that documented CMEs completed for the 2020 to 2022 time period, as well as the 2022 to 2024 time periods. So because the applicant had not practiced since March of 2020, it was referred to the executive director with the recommendation that she practice for 6 months under a supervised temporary permit. The PA licensure chairperson reviewed and agreed with this recommendation, and the applicant is appealing this, requesting the restrictions be lessened based on that she began working in 2010 and she never had any sanctions or disciplinary issues while licensed. She did submit a detailed personal statement that is in your summary on page 3 and 4 regarding her appeal, and she also provided 4 letters of recommendations that were obtained from physicians that she previously worked with while she was attempting to obtain a Canadian license. So applicant 2600, if you are present and can unmute yourself, please. If you have an opening statement, you can present that at this time, but if not, then the board members will just move forward with asking you questions regarding your application, okay?
Hi, I'm present, Lorraine Osborne.
Okay.
I just wanted to state, I appreciate the board giving me temporary license. I'm not challenging the decision. I just wanted some clarification as to where the decision comes from with regards to restricted versus unrestricted licensing.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, Ms. Gottschalk. For a licensure applicant who has an active practice issue where they haven't practiced in their profession for a certain amount of time, the board does recommend a remedy that is practicing under a supervised temporary permit, where the applicant will obtain a licensed practitioner that's licensed by the Texas Medical Board, practice for the duration that was determined. In your case, it was 6 months. And then upon completion of that 6 months temporary supervised time period, the board staff will receive an evaluation of that time period, your work log. Then if everything checks out and there are no issues that were reported, then the applicant would be put on the next licensing date to then either be relicensed if they were previously licensed or issued their first license if they've never had one with the Texas Medical Board.
Okay. How do you get an unrestricted license? Because it states in the section that you had mentioned there is a possibility of an unrestricted license. How would you obtain that if somebody the
Right.
requirement?
An unrestricted PA license is issued when an applicant meets all the licensing criteria that's outlined in statute and board rule, and they have been submitted the application, reviewed by a licensure analyst, determined that they do meet all of the criteria, and then are scheduled for our next PA licensing list. In your specific instance, there was the active practice issue, which is a requirement that is outlined in board rule, since you had not actively practiced as a physician assistant within either of the last 2 years preceding the date of your application. Your last practice was in March of 2020. So because of that, the recommendation was made to the executive director and then reviewed by the PA licensure chair that to remedy this active practice licensing criteria, that you be offered the 6-month supervised temporary permit. And then upon successful completion of that, would then be put on the list to then obtain the full unrestricted license.
It also states in there that you're not able to get a DEA during that time, which, I mean, I understand the supervisory or temporary license as well. But working in an emergency room, I had 2 contracts signed. One, they cannot do credentialing because it isn't a full-time license. They cannot start the credentialing. And the other one, I talked to the medical director. He was willing to sign as the supervisory physician, but he talked with the other physicians because, of course, he's not going to be available every day at work. The other AR physicians didn't want to be involved with doing logs and evaluations. So thus, it limits my opportunity. Well, both of those opportunities now are are basically gone with a restricted license and no DEA ability. So I was just wondering if there was anything else that you could suggest or a way for me, you know, because I want to get back to Texas work.
PA
and that-
Osborne, perhaps some of the board members can ask some questions to try to get further clarity of the issue. And then we would be able to discuss any options that we thought might be applicable for you.
Absolutely. Yes.
So does any PA board members or any board members have any questions for PA Osborne? So I have a couple. So I understand that you were kind of stuck in Canada because of COVID restrictions, correct?
Yes.
When did you return to Texas?
I haven't returned working yet.
Okay, so you're still in Canada?
Yes, I live in
Okay,
Canada. Yeah. March
but
2020 is when COVID hit, and of course I couldn't travel. So I thought COVID wasn't going to last that long. So I just told my employer I can't get back and forth due to border restrictions. Would you hold my position for a little while? And he agreed. Of course, COVID lasted a lot longer. And then I found out I could travel, but I would have to be quarantined in another province. But I was willing to do that just to get back to work. But by that time, he had already had to hire extra employees because they were so busy. So COVID restrictions actually didn't, for non-essential travel, didn't lift until 1 year later, 18 months later, which was November of 2021. So that really delayed my opportunity to get back.
but you could have applied for to have your license renewed at that time, right? In 2021?
I did.
Or it wasn't even canceled yet until 2021?
It wasn't, no, it got canceled in, I think it was August, the end of August 20.
Okay,
Yeah, which is the time you brought in the fingerprinting, and I couldn't get to Texas to do the fingerprints. It took 3 or 4 months to try to figure out how to get my fingerprints down to Texas at that time. So I went
right,
to
but three more years have gone by. So when were you intending to come back to Texas to, I know that you didn't start trying to get your license until July of 2023. So there was 2 years in between. Did you decide just not to work as a PA in those 2 years? Because you could have come back at that time.
Right, you're right. I could have. And so I figured I'm not going to get back for another year. I'll just reapply. At that time, Canada was bringing in PAs here in Newfoundland, which is a province in Canada that I'm working at. PAs aren't regulated. So I talked with the government. The government of Newfoundland said, we're going to hire PAs. We're going to start a pilot project. They only have 5 provinces here in Canada where you can work as a PA. That's regulated.
Right.
So I talked with the government and basically lost 8 months because they wouldn't, at the end of that 8 months, they told me they wouldn't hire me because the requirements were going to be that I had to go to school to obtain my PA degree in Canada. So that was 8 months. My fault. I lost that because I was hoping it would work out here.
Right. So you weren't really intending on coming back to Texas. You were intending on working as a PA in Canada.
A PA anywhere I could get work, but that would have been convenient since I'm living here.
Right. Okay. So anybody have any other questions?
I have a question. This
Yes,
is Dr. Ho.
PA Bowles.
Go ahead, Dr.
Is that
Ho, sorry.
Dr. Ho or PA
Yeah, go
Bowles?
ahead.
I'm talking, one with their hand up.
Okay. So Dr. Ho, go right ahead.
Okay, so I have a question. So your recent attempt to get licensure, or at least to try to comply with the 6 month, are you saying you're being stonewalled because you can't get privileges right now through the credentialing companies? Or is it just, it's too limited? Because what I'm hearing is that when you apply for these various ER jobs, is that one physician is willing to supervise, others are not, and that's just a time thing, and you have to figure that out. But then the thing about your unrestricted DEA license, since you're being supervised, I'm understanding why you need an unrestricted DEA license where you will be supervised. You can get your attending physician to then sign off on narcotics. So I don't know what the problem is there, unless it's some credentialing issue. So can you explain that, please?
There is a credentialing, so they gave me 2 reasons. One was that they cannot credential me without a full licensing. Without a full license is what they're telling me. The second contract said they would go through with that. They could credential me. So one is HCA, which is telling me that they need a full license to begin credentialing. The other one is IES. Which states that they will credential me and give me, be able to work there with the temporary supervisory license, but none of the ER docs will sign off. Which, as you know, in most of the ERs, I'm going to have that issue, but that's where my main work experience is.
Mr. Bowles, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask if the ER is the main area of work experience, or have you worked in other areas as a PA? I'm just wondering if there may be other avenues that may not be as restrictive in terms of the credentialing process to work to supervise this, because we deal with this issue quite often with PAs that have been out of practice for a while, and we're pretty, we have some guidelines that we follow in terms of making sure that the public safety is number one. So I was wondering if there's any other areas that you've applied in besides emergency medicine that may not be as restrictive.
Yes, of course, urgent care, I wouldn't be able to work there, which is where my experience is, because most of the time they put a PA by themselves. I did talk to my previous employer and told him my situation. He does have a full staff. In order for this to work out, I may have to go back, which is something that I'm willing to do, but financially not feasible, is to come back and not get paid to work my 6 months just to get my license, or that portion, the temporary part, dealt with. But he did say he would take me on and I could work on the days that the doctors are working, but it would all be basically for free because he doesn't require another employee at this time. So I did also talk to some freestanding ERs because they had ER docs on all the time. But 3 that I reached out to aren't hiring at this time. I'm still working on looking for a job with those, restrictions, but I was just wondering if there was a consideration of a possibility of even less, like 3 months, or anything that was open to lessen that I could have something more to present to somebody. Because right now they're looking at restricted license with 6 months supervisory, so I don't look appealing to them as an employee.
All right. Anyone else have any questions for for PA Osborne? Seeing none, I move the board close the meeting to the public for the purpose of deliberation concerning licensure application. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and second that the board close the meeting to the public. Is there objection by any board member? There being no objection, this meeting is now closed to the public at 9:46 on March 8th, 2024. The meeting will continue in executive session for the purpose of deliberation concerning licensure application under the authority of Occupation Code 204.0585. While in executive session, the board will not take any action, make any decision, or vote with regard to any matter that may be considered or discussed. So we're going to move to closed session.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll be utilizing breakout rooms for this. So board members, you know what's up. We'll be switched over to the breakout room automatically. And then for the remainder of the public, just hang tight where you're at, and the board will resume in this this main meeting area whenever executive session concludes. That looks like Teams is struggling a bit yet again, so just give me a couple seconds.
The executive session ended at 10:11 on March 8th, 2024. There was no final action, decision, or vote in regard to any matter considered or discussed in executive session. A certified agenda of the executive session was made.
And
So we're now going to go to a motion for,
And Ms. Gottschalk, if you don't mind, just before you do that, we would note that Ms. PA Corbett has been able to join the meeting. She joined around 9:34, I believe, a.m. when she finally got some technical issues worked out. You do still have a quorum, but I did want to note on the record that PA Corbett has been able to join us.
thank you very much. Ms. Osborne, PA Osborne, would you like to add any additional comments before we make a motion and decision on this matter?
I do have a quick question, if you would entertain a question.
Sure.
If I were able to find, if you stick with the decision that you have already given, hopefully at least you do that. If I found work here in Canada before the 6 months, would the board consider that working as a PA hours? And how do you look at international criteria?
If a licensure applicant has been informed they have an active practice issue and they may be coming from out of state or in your case, Canada, if they work as a physician assistant in that other state or in Canada in your instance for the minimum of 20 hours per week for minimum of 40 weeks, which is how we define active practice in our board rule, then upon verification that the applicant has done the minimum 20 hours for a minimum of 40 weeks, then we could then consider this active practice issue remedied because you've just been practicing. And then if everything else checks out and there are no other issues that require any review, then that individual could be put on the list to be licensed. So it's either comply with the remedy or remedy yourself by meeting the actual active practice definition that is outlined in board rule.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that international criteria would have been the same within the United States. Okay.
Point
If
of
you're practicing as
clarification.
a PA.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
Ms. Gottschalk.
Point of clarification, was 40 weeks for a 1 year restricted license or 40 weeks for a 6 month?
So our active practice definition is a minimum of 40 weeks, working a minimum of 20 hours per week. So if the applicant decides the supervised TL, if that is the recommendation of the board, maybe too challenging, then the applicant can remedy their active practice by practicing as a PA, meeting the original definition of the active practice rule. And then upon verification that that has been completed, then there is no active practice issue because this individual has demonstrated they meet the active practice definition of the 40 weeks, 20 hours per week, and that would basically make the 6-month supervised TL not necessary because they now meet the licensure requirement for active practice. Does that answer your question, Ms. Gottschalk?
It does. Thank you so much. All right. So board members, do we have a motion regarding this issue? So the motion would be to grant the appeal or not to grant the appeal. So could I get a motion?
This is Dr. Rowan. I make a motion to deny the appeal.
Can I have a second?
This is Sauer, I'll second.
We have a motion to deny the appeal that's been seconded. May I, we need a vote now on the matter. So all those in favor of denying the appeal,
Well, for
please signify.
clarification, I'm sorry, Ms. Gottschalk, for clarification, the motion is to deny the appeal and the original recommendation of the 6-month supervised temporary permit stands. Is that the motion?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
And for clarification, the application was filed on July 19th, 2023. Applications are good for 1 calendar year. So the application is not set to expire until July 19th, 2024, which is coming up in approximately 4 months. If the applicant has not been able to find a supervised temporary, a supervisor to act as this, do you want that time extended to maybe 6 months from this meeting date? Or if the applicant is not able to provide that she's been able to find a supervisor, on the date of her application that it will expire as is. That's a decision that is up to the board, how much time you want to allow for this.
I think 6 months, unless anybody objects, would be a good extension since we're now making the decision on it.
Okay, so 6 months from the date of this meeting to obtain a supervisor, and if not, then the application will be considered withdrawn and expired. Is that
Right.
correct? Okay.
I'm sure Dr. Rowan wouldn't mind tacking that onto his motion.
Yes, that'd be fine.
Thank you.
Seconded by PA Sauer. So all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, so moved.
Applicant 2600, you will receive an email from board staff that will contain a link to a separate Teams meeting so that you can leave this one and join that one. Licensure staff will be there to answer any questions regarding the motion that you just heard or how to proceed with your licensure application or any additional questions that you may have, okay?
Thank you all for your time
Thank,
today.
thank you, PA Orsborn. We wish you well. So we're going to move on to item number 11, which is says none beside it. Is it still none, Ms. Otterborn?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll move on to number 12, report of physician assistant license issued by board staff.
So the list of licenses that have been issued by board staff since the last PA board meeting back on November 3rd, 2023 are there for you to review, and it does include the list of the PAs that will be licensed today following the board meeting. This is just a report, so there's no motion needed.
All right, thank you very much. Number 12 is also you, which is licensure process statistics.
Yes, in Q2 for fiscal year 2023, 332 PA licenses were issued in an average processing time of 6 days. In Q2 for the current fiscal year 2024, 287 PA licenses have been issued in an average processing time of 3 days. And this is a report, so no motion is needed.
All right. So we'll move on to number 14, report of canceled non-reviewed data retired license. I had none originally. Is that the same?
There is actually a report here for your review. It's a review of the first and second quarter of FY24. We didn't see any significant changes in the increase of cancellations or retirements between the first and second quarter of FY23 and the first and second quarter of FY24. So those numbers are there for you to review. As of March 1st, the total number of active PA licenses we have is 13,166. This is just for your information again, so no action needed.
Okay. All right, we'll now move on to number 15. Mr. Palazzolo.
Certainly. Okay, and these are all reports, so we don't need any action on them. Item A is the enforcement activity report. Just kind of keeps track of number of cases and investigations, litigation, the number of decisions made, the pre-investigation process. We now have 5 full years of data, which is kind of what we're going to try to keep with. So going back to 2019, you can kind of see physician assistants are line 2 on these. A little bit of a outlier when we had COVID, but other than that, the numbers are very stable. So that's what we want to see. Nothing unusual there. Item 2 in this section is the warning letters report. These are pre-investigation files that are reviewed, and if they can be resolved with a warning letter, we would send that. We do have 3 that we're reporting. These are 3 PAs who accepted the warning letter and issued a corrective action plan. We do have a report there covering those. Item C is I've lost my spot. Yes, item C is the criminal case review report. This is for all license types, not just physician assistants. This is related to the fingerprinting. Everyone gets enrolled in the FBI database. We get a wrap back anytime there's an arrest made. We are reviewing and tracking those, and as necessary, we evaluate these for temporary suspension or referral to the physician health program or for a full investigation. And you can see that's been a pretty consistent number since we started that process. Item D are the active cases over 1 year old. We track these for both litigation and investigations. Both of these reports indicate we're staff are doing a good job keeping everything, getting things resolved. Obviously, you're going to have cases that go over a year old when there's a criminal process going on. So a lot of these are related to court cases. There are occasional delays getting documents. We send out subpoenas, and that takes some time. So that's what those delays are. In litigation, the delays are generally related to cases that don't settle after the ISC. So these are cases that are going to end up over it. So there are not very many of them. Item E is a summary of all of the actions that have been taken in this fiscal year. That would include suspension by operational law, revocations by operation of law, cease and desist cases, and temporary suspensions. This covers all license types, but the PAs are listed on that report as appropriate. I don't believe we've had any temporary suspensions on any PA cases in a while, so I should maybe knock on wood as I say that. That's a good thing. And the last report would be on rehearings, but there are none. So that would conclude the reports section under agenda item 15, unless there are questions.
Any questions regarding that? Okay, we'll move on to number 16, expert physician assistant consultant panel, and I have none.
That's correct.
Okay, we'll go on to number 17, the cases recommended for dismissal.
Okay, and these are the DPRC items. So Mr. Bowles, you usually kind of help us with get through this. Are you ready to go?
Absolutely, as ready as I always am.
All right, well,
it doesn't look
you.
like under Section A that we have any of the non-standard of care cases. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then under standard of care cases, we have some that are individually divvied out. We can start with mine if you would like.
Certainly, and I can kind of call for that one since these are yours. So we can call for yours, Mr. Bowles. And of the cases that are assigned to you under 17B, standard of care cases, you've got items under filed investigations LOE and ISC dismissals. Are there any that you would like to pull for discussion?
No, there are not.
Okay. Then if you would like to make the motion.
Absolutely. I move to approve for dismissal as recommended. Do I need to call out the specific numbers or can I take these all together?
No, sir. You can take them as a group.
Okay. As a group. So again, move to approve for dismissal as recommended.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Todd. Go ahead, Ms. Gottschalk, you can take that.
Okay. All those approve the motion as stated, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, move on to the next item, Mr. PA Bowles.
I guess under C, it's an ISC panel dismissal. I have one case there and no questions on the case, so I would move to approve for dismissal as recommended on this one as well.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Now, all those in favor of dismissing this case as stated, please signify by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so Mr. Bowles, you want to move on to the next one?
Yes, so the next one are cases that are assigned to you, Ms. Gottschalk.
Okay, so you didn't have anything in litigation.
I did not have.
All right, so I do not have any cases that I would like to pull under the filed investigation. There were quite a few, but I do not have any that I'd want to pull. So I make a motion to approve dismissal of these cases.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve for dismissal is recommended by Ms. Gottschalk, second by PA Todd. Any discussions on these? If not, all in favor of approving for dismissal is recommended, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? And that motion carries.
And I had an ISC panel dismissal, but it's not showing up on my, oh, here it is. Okay, I have one case there, and I like to make a motion to dismiss this case as written or as moved.
Approved for dismissal as recommended for this ISC case. Have a motion by Ms. Pia Goschalk. Any seconds?
Second.
PA by, I'm sorry, who was the?
That was me.
PA. Okay. Any discussions on this case? All right. Seeing none. To vote. All in favor of approving for dismissal this particular ISC case, please say aye.
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 All opposed? And that motion carries as well. Did you have any under litigation? Does not look like.
That was all I had.
And then we do have some with under Dr. Ho. Mr. Palazzo, is there someone appearing?
Not on this one.
Okay.
No, not on this agenda item. No, sir.
Okay. All right, Dr. Ho.
I have files under B, the filed investigations in the LOE. I do not wish any of them pulled. I wish to motion to have them dismissed as previously agreed.
Okay. So I have a motion by Dr. Ho to approve for dismissal as recommended. Do I have any seconds?
Second.
Second by Dr. Rowan. Any discussions? So all those in favor of approving for dismissal as recommended, please say aye.
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 All opposed? And that motion carries. It doesn't look like you have any more. Is that correct?
No more.
And then cases to Dr. Rowan.
Yes, I have several cases under section B, but I have no concerns, and I recommend motion for dismissal of all my reviewed cases.
Okay, I have a motion for dismissal as recommended. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by PA Todd. Any discussions? All those in favor of approving for dismissal as recommended, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? And the motion carries.
Okay. So we'll, next item is number 18.
And there are none under 18.
Okay, number 19, Mr. Palazzoa.
Sure. And these are the appeals of dismissed complaints under agenda item 19. We do have one appellant appearing today. Mr. Bowles, if you would like to ask if any, before we take up that appeal in executive session, if you would like to ask if there are any other appeals assigned to any board members that would like to pull them for discussion.
So we have, these are individually assigned as well.
They are, yes, sir, they are. Although, of course, any board member who's reviewed them, if they would like to pull one for discussion, can do so. Otherwise, if nobody has any they would like to pull for discussion, we can go ahead and vote when after we've heard the appearing appellant. I just want to make sure if there are any that we need to discuss while we go into executive session, if we know if any of them are going to be pulled. So this would be a good time to ask if anybody has any appeals that they would like to pull.
Okay. Anybody have any discussions on any of the appeals that we need to discuss before we move on?
None.
I do not have either.
None.
Okay. So we do have one, and let me just check with staff. Are they ready? So we do have one appellant ready to appear. We will need to go into executive session since our investigations are confidential. And we'll need a motion to do that. And then I don't know, Ms. Goschalk, if you want to check and see if anybody needs a
Yeah, this might be a good time to take a 10-minute break.
So if we go into executive session first and then we'll take a break and then we'll hear the appeal.
So I move the board committee close the meeting to public for the purpose of deliberation concerning advice of counsel.
Yeah.
Private consultation and advice of counsel. Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and second that the board close the meeting to public. Is there an objection by any board member? There being no objection, the meeting is now closed to the public at 10:32 a.m. on 3/8/2024. The meeting will continue in executive session for the purpose of private consultation and advice of counsel concerning pending or contemplated litigation, settlement office, or legal matters subject to the attorney-client privilege under the authority of Open Meetings Act, Section 551.171 Government Code. While in executive session, the board will not take any action, make any decision, or vote with regard to any matter that may be considered or discussed.
Okay, and same thing as before, I'm going to open up the breakout room. Board members will move in, and the remainder of the public will sit tight in this main meeting area until executive session has concluded.
How can I be held accountable? That'd be like calling the fucking doctor saying, hey, doc, she's got cancer. I'm not qualified.
Are we all back?
I see 8 on my screen. Dr. Ali is not on my screen.
I'm here.
I see your circle, but I don't see your picture. Can you toggle your camera on and off?
Just hold on. Let me do it.
Did we lose Dr. Ali?
I believe he may have signed off and he's coming back in, perhaps. I'm not sure. There he is. He's back on, but I don't see him on camera.
There he is. Okay.
There he is. He's back.
All right.
Everybody, all the board members are back.
Okay. The executive session ended at 11:46 on 3/8/2024. There was no final decisions, action, or vote with regard to any matter considered or discussed in executive session. A certified agenda of the executive session was made. Mr. Bowles?
I cannot hear him.
That's because I forgot to unmute myself. So we're under item number 19, appeals of dismissed complaints. We're going to take letter A under jurisdictional. There is one that was assigned to me for investigations, and I have no discussions. I will make a motion to deny the appeal as submitted.
I second that.
Okay, Gauss, Chuck, you wanna?
Yeah, this is I can do that for you, Mr.
Okay.
Bowles. So Mr. Bowles has made a motion to dismiss agenda item 19A, number 23-0065 that was assigned to him. Is there a second?
I second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
And then
Hearing that.
I have another one under legal, 23-2971, and I would like to make a motion to deny the appeal as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any,
Aye.
any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay. Now we're under the JNF files. We'll start with PA Goschalk.
Yes, I had two files, 240948 and 241349. And I move that they are both dismissed as indicated.
Okay. We have a motion to deny the appeals as submitted by PA Goschalk. Do I hear any a second?
Second.
Dr. Ho, you got your hand up.
I will need to recuse myself from PA 24-1349.
Okay, so Dr. Ho is recusing 24-1349. So the motion still is to deny the appeal as submitted. We have a second by PA Todd. Any discussions on this? All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions? So that motion to deny the appeal carries. Dr. Ho, we'll go to your files.
Yeah, I have two files. 24-1500, which the complainant gave us some verbal summary executive session. At this time, I make a motion to deny the appeal at this time.
So we have a motion to deny the appeal for file 241500 by Dr. Ho. Do we have anybody that needs to recuse themselves?
This Melinda, PA Gottschalk, I need to recuse myself on this case.
So P. Goschalk is recusing herself on 24-1500. So the motion to deny the appeal is placed by Dr. Ho. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by PA Todd. Any discussions? Seeing none, all of those in favor for denying the appeal, please say aye.
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 All of those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so the motion to deny the appeal carries. Dr. Ho, you have another file?
Yes, I have file 24-1722. Also make a motion to deny the appeal.
So motion to deny the appeal for case 241722 by Dr. Ho. Do I have a second?
Yep, second.
PA Todd. Any discussions? Anyone need to recuse themselves? All right. All those in favor to deny the appeal, please say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All opposed? Any abstentions? And that motion carries to deny the appeal as well. Next, we have files for Dr. Rowan.
Yes, I have two cases, 242205 and 242536. And I also make a motion to deny appeal of these cases.
Motion to deny the appeal under these two cases. Anybody need to recuse themselves? Okay, so the motion to deny the appeal is made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by PA Todd. Any discussions? All those in favor to deny the appeals as submitted, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions? And that takes care of the JNF files. I don't see that we have any non-jurisdictional files. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. That takes care of item number 19.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll move on to item number 20, the consideration and approval of non-public rehabilitation orders, modification request, termination request of non-public rehabilitation orders, and I do not see any.
There are none.
21, consideration and approval of modification termination request orders for, I have a number of the name.
Yeah, yes, there is one. This is agenda item 21, and there is one under there. We don't need to state the number on the record as long as the board members are there. So, and that motion would be a motion to approve the order as recommended.
So do I hear a motion to approve the order as written.
Make a motion to approve the order as written.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Anyone need to recuse himself from this?
My name
Okay.
is on this. Do I need to recuse?
His name is on this.
You wouldn't need to recuse unless there.
No,
unless
sir, you
there's-
don't.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All those in favor of of approving this modification and termination order signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, so the motion is approved. Number 22, consideration and approval of agreed board order.
There's one item there.
There's one item there for you guys to have reviewed. Is there any discussion on this item or a motion to approve the agreed board order?
I make
I'll
a
make a
motion.
motion to approve the agreed board order.
Anyone need to recuse himself from this order?
Again, my name's on it. I don't know.
I think you're
That
good.
just means that you participated in this particular hearing, Dr. Todd.
Right.
You don't have to recuse whenever you participate in it.
Okay.
All right. All those in favor of we got a second, right?
I second.
Okay. All those in favor of the approval of this agreed board order, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone not denying this board order? Okay, so we'll move forward to 23. Consideration and approval of remedial plans. There's 3 cases there for us to have reviewed.
I move that we accept the remedial plans as submitted.
Any seconds?
Second.
All right. Anyone need to recuse himself on these? All right. So let's, we need a approval of anyone, if you please signify if you approve for the remedial plans as written.
Aye.
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 If
Aye.
anyone wish to deny them, please signify by saying aye, I guess. Okay. So we're going to move on to 24, where there's consideration and approval of reinstatement. There's none. 25, there's none. 26, none. 27, none. I don't need to read all those out.
We'll take them off. So yeah, you don't need to say this. You just say 28, none.
Okay, 28, none. 29, none. 30, none. 31, none. 32, none. 33, none. 34, we're open forum for public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to make a comment?
And we will note that there is nobody in the room with us, although we are going to check the hallway quickly. If there's somebody on the Teams connection that would like to make an open comment, it would need to be about something that's not otherwise on the agenda today. We would give you about 3 minutes to make a public comment. If there's anybody that would like to take themselves off of mute or raise their hand.
And if you are attending by phone and trying to unmute, you'll need to press *6.
Just pause for another minute just to make sure. Okay.
Seeing that there's no one here to make a public comment, we'll move on to the item of 35, which is consideration and approval of the November 3rd, 2023 board meeting minutes. Does anyone have any revisions to the minutes? So I would need a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Move to approve the minutes as submitted.
A second, please.
Second.
All right, we've had a motion and a second to move to approve the board meeting minutes from November 3rd, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, so then we come to item 36, which is to adjourn. Need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
In a second?
I
second
second
it.
and would say great job, PA Goschalk.
Thanks so
Well,
much.
thank you. Thank you. So, anyone against adjourning, please make your voice known. Otherwise, we'll adjourn. All right.
Bye.
Nice seeing y'all again.
Nice seeing you.
Good to be
Nice seeing
seen.
y'all.
And
Thank
it's
you, everybody.
11:58. It's
Thank you, everyone.
11:58 for adjournment.
Oh,
Thank you.
11:58 for adjournment.
Thanks, Wendy.
Bye.
Thank you.